Hey, Spud here. Today we're going to talk about a couple of activations. You might know them as RPR, Reflexive Performance Reset. You can call them activations. Some people call them wake-up drills. But the main thing is it's the activation points that can make a big difference as far as squatting, deadlifting, anything where the hips push back. Kettlebell swings, any nature where the hips are involved. A lot of times you see guys whose motion is, they're either butt winking or it just doesn't look quite right because they don't know how to push back with their hips. They don't have the range of motion. So there's a couple of activations that I want to do today that will help out a lot. I'm going to use Neil today to help you see what's going on and why you would do it. In the old days when we accumulated training, often, you'd have days where your hips just felt like shit and they just wouldn't work. So we didn't know about these drills back then. We just kind of suffered. We just, put our gear on or whatever we're doing that day. If we're doing raw stuff, we just suffered through the situation. Well, a couple years back when I learned Be Activated, which was J.L. Holsworth was the guy who introduced me to the Be Activated. When I was going to take his seminar, it just didn't work out. I ended up taking the Be Activated. It's the same thing in essence in a lot of the basic techniques. But what I learned was when you do a couple of these things, it automatically orients the body to getting to positions a lot easier and getting into these movements. The main purpose of this video today is to show you these moves before and after, and then you can kind of get an idea of where you want to incorporate it. If you want to incorporate it in your swings, if you want to do it for your squats. Again, people, it's called activations, RPR, Reflexive Performance Reset, and some people call them wake-up drills. So that's where we're gonna go. All right, so I'm gonna have Neil demonstrate a few squats and you can kind of get a bird's eye view. I mean, obviously there's many things to look at, but we're just gonna watch his form for a second. So I'm gonna have Neil do, a few reps here with the bar. So step out. And in particular, I pay attention to the hips. I see how people move through the hips. Just squat normal, don't worry about anything. Okay, come on up. Do a few more. And they don't have to be bottom outers. Yep. So I just want you to kind of see the idea, look where he is, how he's performing the squat. I don't want to give him any cues right now because then he'll change his motion. And it'll be different than if I told him some cues right now, it would change the way he does things. And I really want you to see the difference afterwards. All right, that's good. All right, so let's do the box demo too. All right, so I'm gonna have Neil also do some box squats. I wanted you to get a look at his raw squat, and then I wanted you to get a look at his box squat. And just, you can kind of see the motion, and you'll see what it looks like. Try to land a little softer. And I'm not here to pick it apart. I'm just here to show you a couple things that we're gonna do to help him squat a little bit better and feel a little bit better when he does squat. I don't think he even knows about his squat. That's cool, rack it up. Okay, so, normally we keep our shirts on around here because it drives me freaking bananas. But, I kind of wanted you to see the points that we're going to work on to help him kind of squat a little bit better. I've done a few videos already about the diaphragm activations, and I'm going to work the diaphragm points. So here and underneath the rib cage where the diaphragm attaches there, and then I'm going to work the psoas points. It's going to be a belly rub like this, and then I'm going to do the middle part where I go in and I kind of, I call it swirling. Basically, you're just kind of trying to loosen up that tissue and get the psoas to kind of activate a little bit more. And for all you scientific people, I cannot explain how it works, so don't ask me those questions. It's voodoo. And everybody's gonna tell you it's voodoo because they can't explain it either. But it really does work, and it's a couple of simple things that can help you with your squat, your deadlift, your swings, anything with the hips. There's a lot more activations, but these are just a couple of them that I think are pretty critical when you got a guy whose form is terrible, or he's just not moving very well. All right, so I've got Neil here with his shirt off. He's a little uncomfortable about it, I think, but I think we'll get through the situation here. I'm going to start with the diaphragm points and the breathing points, and I may not have gone into it as much as I should have, but one thing about squatting or deadlifting or anything, even swings or whatever you're doing, you want to be able to breathe, obviously, but you also want to have your stomach out. So when you diaphragm breathe, your stomach is always out. So you're creating this chamber that you can do more work with. When people don't use their abdominal region correctly, I mean, honestly, you can take away several hundred pounds off of a squat or a deadlift or anything. So what we're doing with the breathing is we're trying to get obviously the stomach to come out, but also to relax and not be tight all the time. A lot of people walk around with their stomachs tight and sucked in because they want to look skinnier or, for whatever reason. I mean, that's not important. But the whole thing is we're gonna do the breathing part, which will also help him regulate his training. So if your breathing's good and you're using your diaphragm and you're pushing out, even if you're beltless or whatever you're trying to do, if you're creating that brace and that system, you're always going to be able to squat more, deadlift more, and you're going to be relaxed in the situation. So that's what we're looking for, is to be relaxed in the situation and not everything be tensed up. So this also has a parasympathetic nervous system component, where if your stomach's out and you're breathing, your diaphragm breathing, you're going to be a little bit more relaxed. So we're going to bring your nervous system down a little bit too. I didn't know this, but back in the old days when I squatted, I used to get all jacked up, and then I would just say, okay, calm yourself down, and I continue diaphragm breathing. And I didn't even know I was doing this at the time, but I was eliciting that response to where my diaphragm, I was breathing deep, but I was also calming. I was eliciting the adrenaline response, but I was also controlling the adrenaline response. And that's why I think, this is also so significant whenever you're training, is to do this thing, okay? So on the sternum here, what I'm gonna do is you can take knuckles, but usually I just take the thumb and the forefinger together. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna do this. And immediately Neil closed his eyes really tight, so I knew they were getting in there. Oftentimes, this is also a lymphatic response as well. So, and there's so much on the lymphatic, we could go on forever and ever, but the lymphatic and the nervous system together, there's a lot going on there. So what I'm doing is I'm working, and I'm looking for some spots. I mean, you don't have to be as specific, but if there's a lot of fluidy spots, I'll kind of work them a little bit longer. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm a little bit here. So I'm gonna go into this one a little bit. And you can work your way up the chain. If it's really, really painful, then usually you're getting in there. Or if they punch you in the face too. If they start squeezing their hands, you're like a little bit, back off a little bit. So, here's another one. What I look for is if it's like really fluidy and thick through here, that's sort of what I'm looking for. Those are usually the most painful points. Like already he's loosened up a little bit through here. And there's some stuff here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. We're just really trying to get this going. So again, 10 to 30 seconds in the spot. So that's the first breathing point. The second breathing point is right under the rib cage, where it attaches to the diaphragm, okay? Where the diaphragm comes in. And all you're gonna do, all I do is take my thumb and finger. Yeah, I got a little bit too much response there, so maybe I'll go in a little gentler. Okay, so, and I'm just 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'll move down just a little bit, and you're gonna get some spots. Take a breath for me. He's a big chest breather. He hasn't bought into the whole diaphragm breathing yet. So he's a perfect subject, really. So in some spots it's gonna be even stickier. Take a breath. And then you'll be able to go in a little bit more. Just get him relaxed, and then he'll say, no, that's enough. And they'll give you a response. If they tell you no, just back out of it. So go in here. And I thought I cut my nails good, but it looks like I didn't. Now Neil's had this done before. And he never asked for it again, so I'm not really sure. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's pretty uncomfortable for him, so I'm not gonna kill a whole lot of time on it. So I'm gonna go back under here one more time. You don't have to go all the way down. I just like it. Okay, so I just did the breathing points on him. I'm gonna do the psoas right now too, but what you wanna do if you wanna kind of get an idea, do your diaphragm points, boom, boom. You can see where I cut them up pretty good with my nail. And then try a couple squats out and see how you feel. You know, you can do it for your warm-ups. You can go boom, 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 do a warm-up, boom, 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 do a warm-up. And you can see and feel, you know, if there's any difference in what your warm-ups as you go. So it's a little bit better. Okay. So we got a little bit better breathing out of them. We're really looking for belly breathing right here. But you know, sometimes that takes a while to get. All right, so the psoas move, the first one is the belly rub. It's gonna be below the belly button and in this general area where the hips are. Sometimes you can go a little bit lower. It just depends on how you feel. But for the quick part, this is what I would do to somebody at a meet. I would get in here and get your hand. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I've done this with suits on. I've kind of just reached in there and did some of the magic, and sometimes you can't go as long, but you'll catch my drift. So then I'll move over a little bit. And you can, if you want to, you can do this. Whatever they can tolerate. 10, 9, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. I got some release out of him. He kind of gave a little bit. I'm gonna work it just a little bit more. Sometimes I'll use the heel of my hand. 2, 1. This is a terrible spot. I can feel it. So that way, all right, that's the first psoas move. And again, like I said, you could squat, you know, do a move, squat, do a move, and see how you feel in each one. So, boom, boom, and then these two, and then we'll see what he looks like, okay? So now we're gonna do the other point. This is the main point, right here in the middle. So hip bone, belly button, dead in the middle. Take a breath for me. And he knows what's coming. And you just start gently, whatever they give you. I've done them really hard, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. So I'm getting a little kickback here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that cue also helps them relax a little bit because they don't fight as much. So again, I'm gonna go to the other side here. Boom, boom. And then once he breathes out, I'll just start gently, work my way in. You can tell it's not a happy spot for him. And sometimes you gotta move a little bit. Sometimes you just can't stay in one spot. Just don't go too far away from the middle. So breathe for me. And I just This is the swirl I was talking about. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath for me. Okay, so now we're gonna get him up and get him to squat. Okay, so we did a couple activations and now we're gonna have Neil squat and see what you think. Neil's a straight up and down squatter, but as you can see, if you look closely, even though the way he squats is a little bit different than some people, and there's nothing wrong with that, he has more movement, keep going, he has more movement through here. It's easier to get back. I can see that right away. All right, take a break. So we immediately got him to, with those couple of moves, to relax more and push back more with his hips and his legs. So everything starts working a little bit more in conjunction together, and you get more output from your body. And this applies to deadlifts and swings and whatever you do lower body wise. This can activate, activate more stuff working, more muscles getting involved, more people working together. The knees are his hinge point, and then his hips didn't flex at all, so he had to manipulate the knees and the butt. Butt wink is a pretty common thing, but it's also you're not utilizing all your muscle that you could be utilizing to be involved in the squat. And over time, that can lead to other injuries like quad injuries, hamstring injuries. That's why it's so important to do these type of things. And my friend J.L. Holsworth wrote a nice article on it. When you do the RPR and the activations and all these things, you increase your range of motion. Obviously, you're just seeing the hip range of motion, but if you can increase the ankle range of motion as well, and it doesn't matter how you squat, how you do it, if you're increasing that range of motion, that's one of the limiting factors, obviously, is your ankle, but also your hips and all these things. But if you can increase that, then everything is going to be better no matter what sport you are in. That's a pretty critical point. It doesn't matter what sport you're in, if you're increasing that range of motion and that flexibility and that activation of all those different tissues, you're going to perform a whole lot better than you did in the past. So we're going to do the box squat now. Basically, I just wanted you to see this frame of reference as well. And you can tell, you can look at the video over and over again, you can see the first time he was very tense, now he's relaxed. So it has a little bit of a calming effect. So let's go ahead and do one. We're gonna do a few reps here. And again, the weight's not important, but you're gonna kind of step back a little bit more so you're away from the rack. Okay. So now just lower yourself onto the box. Just lower yourself slowly. Just kind of get the feel. And you're just looking for the changes in the motion. Okay, that's good. So again, it's a lot of the box changes how you do things, and I'm not, there's so many things you can do to correct form. I'm not here to correct form. I'm just here to show you the difference between being tight and not being activated versus being more activated and being able to move better. And that's all we're after, is to make you move better. Immediately, I saw, you can look at the tape again, but stomach was more relaxed. When he sat down, it was, when I slowed him down a little bit, you could actually just see him just controlling it and putting the brakes on the squat and actually getting a lot more of this involved than he was before. So obviously it took a long time to do that. You can do these moves fairly quickly, but you can utilize these things at any time that you see a form breakdown that's abnormal, or you're trying to increase the range of motion and activity of all the tissues and the muscle and everything throughout the body. So those are just a couple activations that I wanted to show you guys today, and how to incorporate them into your training scheme and when you do it. So check it out, and I hope you enjoyed it.